Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is day 267, Thursday, November 30th, 2017. Okay, well it's Thursday for all of you watching right now, but of course I'm doing the video on Wednesday night, and of course we know what Wednesday night is, don't we? That's right, it's garbage night, and the night that I eat chicken. Every Wednesday I take out the trash and I eat chicken. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, this morning when I got up, I'm sure for a lot of you, yesterday when you got up, the first thing you saw was that Matt Lauer had been fired. So that's another major swamp creature dragged kicking and screaming from the swamp. Now, the first thing that crossed my mind as I'm sitting there having my coffee and reading about this is that my mind kind of went back to about a year ago to when Roger Ailes was taken down by sexual allegations against him. And of course, Roger Ailes was really the founder of Fox News, more the creator, the man, the brain behind Fox News. He was also the man really behind Rush Limbaugh, his radio and TV show, and he really came into vogue in the late 80s. See what happened, there used to be a thing called the Fairness Doctrine, and the Fairness Doctrine said that if you had 15 minutes of conservative talk, you had to have 15 minutes of liberal talk. You had to have the perfect balance. And if you didn't, you couldn't have either. And the problem with that is that no one was interested in listening to liberal talk radio. So no advertisers would sponsor it, so there was no money in it, so there was no talk radio. That's basically what it boiled down to. So in 87 or 88, I guess, they got rid of the Fairness Doctrine, and once they did, it opened up the door for conservative talk. And the first big hitter on the scene was Rush Limbaugh. And Roger Ailes was sort of instrumental in that. And of course, he followed up with a TV show, which was pretty successful for a while as well. But Roger Ailes was the driving force behind Fox News. He was the creative genius behind really the birth of conservative media. Excuse me, the rebirth, I should say, of conservative media in America in the last few years. So anyway, Roger Ailes was taken down about a year ago, and I remember watching the liberal media just literally jubilant, exhilarated over the fact that they had taken down the King Kong of conservative media, Roger Ailes, and they were just so celebratory. I remember watching the Young Turks. I thought they were going to pee themselves from all the happiness that was around the studio there at Young Turks from taking down Roger Ailes. They thought it was wonderful. But now, the very thing that they started a year ago, these allegations, which we don't even know are true or not. I don't know if the allegations against Roger Ailes are true or not. I don't know. But regardless, it was really the Roger Ailes thing that began this whole process. But now that it's come full circle and it's boomeranged back on them and they are being hung by their own petard, we can see that the people taken down now in the media are the liberal media icons. It's almost all liberals who are being taken down. Yeah, they got O'Reilly too, but I never really was a big fan of O'Reilly. I guess he's okay. I didn't really pay much attention to him, but I never really thought he was much of a conservative. I thought he was pretty liberal myself. He was a war hawk, but I thought he was like a neocon. I didn't care much about him. But when you look at the names of the big name liberals that are being taken down in the media, Charlie Rose and now Matt Lauer, these are a couple heavy hitters in that industry, and they're both liberal icons, and many, many, many more, as we've seen, and many, many more to come, because this scandal is just getting started. It started with Roger Ailes, and then it was kind of a lapse, but here in the last few weeks, particularly months since it started in Hollywood, but now it's moved to Washington, and now we're seeing it move into the media. You're seeing all these media figures. Mark Halperin was the first to go, then of course Charlie Rose, and many others are being taken down, as well as many heads of media organizations that you are not even reading about. So anyway, this thing has come full circle, and we're now seeing it's coming back to bite them in the ass. The very thing that they started is taking down their own people. So I got to thinking about it. We really have 4 swamps. Mara keeps track of the swamp creatures, and she's got quite the lists that she's put together, several lists. And I think that we really have 4 swamps. We have the swamp in Hollywood, and we have the swamp in Washington, D.C., where the politicians are, and Congress. Then we have the swamp in New York, which is the headquarters of most of the liberal media outlets, and some are in Washington as well. So we really have these 4 different swamps, and we're watching these swamp creatures being dragged from the swamps every day, it seems like. It's just incredible. This past Sunday, I was just looking at a list just of the swamp in Hollywood, of all the people who have been taken down, who've been forced to resign or have been fired. There's about 150 people on that list. These are some of the biggest names, not just Weinstein, but these are some of the biggest names in Hollywood that are actors, directors, producers, writers, and various other types of people, including people who own big entertainment companies, a huge list of people. And we're now seeing it hitting the media very hard. We had Halpern go down, then Charlie Rose, and we're going to be talking about some more of those people. Now we're seeing it, it's also making its presence felt in D.C., and we know it's a very target-rich environment there inside the Capitol. Almost every one of those guys are perverts. So anyway, we're seeing this whole thing playing itself out, and my friends, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is going to continue for the next at least year, maybe 2 more years. So we're going to see a lot more of these liberal icons in the media, in Hollywood, and elsewhere are going to be taken down. And there'll be some Republicans going down as well, and they need to go too. They need to go too. They're no better. A Democratic pervert, Republican pervert, doesn't matter. They need to go. Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, she's never going to be able to live down that nickname. The best thing she could do is stop commenting on it. It's decided. She cannot win that argument. Trump is just having fun, and every time he brings up Pocahontas, the fact of the matter is, and this was even pointed out on the highly, highly left-wing Daily Show, was even pointing this out to Elizabeth Warren. They even point out to her, they say, hey, look, you may not like the fact that Trump's calling you Pocahontas, but you're the one who went to Harvard and tried to get a teaching job by lying on your application and saying that you're Native American or some part Native American. And even the people on the Daily Show, which are Trump haters, far lefties, were pointing this out to Pocahontas. So she needs to accept this fact and realize that she does nothing but hurt herself when she continues to come out and try to defend herself. There is no defense. He's having fun. He's having fun using the Pocahontas thing. And of course, we know when Trump gives you a nickname, it sticks. Whether it's Crooked Hillary, Lion Ted, Little Marco, Low Energy Bush, it doesn't matter who you are. Once Trump brands you, you're branded for life. The best thing she should do is shut up and ignore him. But he's going to keep using Pocahontas because it's funny. And it reminds people of what she did. But the funny thing is, when I watch Pocahontas, when I was a kid, I watched an awful lot of those old cowboy and Indian movies. I used to love cowboy and Indian movies. Me and my friends used to go out and play cowboys and Indians all the time. In fact, the fact of the matter is, my mother's father, my grandfather, who's no longer with us, he's passed away about 8 or 9 years ago, he was a Crow Indian. 400 years back he can go to his family. They were Crow Indians. And I actually have a picture of my grandfather who deceased of about 8 or 9 years ago. There he is. I don't know if you can see him in that picture. But great man, absolutely great man. Crow Indian. Crow Indian. Oh, and that's my granny. She's still alive, 93 years old. Still chewing turkey, kicking ass, and loves Trump. Now let me tell you what, my grandfather, he was with Patton's army when they liberated Italy in North Africa. And was a great man, but he was a Crow Indian. As you can see, looks like an Indian because he was one, 100%. And that means that I've got probably more Indian in me than Elizabeth Warren. Now, I ask you this, my friends. She has got blonde hair and blue eyes and pale skin. She's a pale face. Have any of you ever seen an Indian with blonde hair, blue eyes, and a pale face? I've watched a lot of Indian movies. Cowboys and Ninja movies. So what I'm asking is if any of you in the comments section can put a video link for me to any Indian who's got blonde hair and blue eyes and pale skin. I would love to see it. I ain't never seen it before, but I would love to see it because as far as I've seen a lot of Indians. We've gone down to Cherokee, North Carolina. I've been out to Arizona and Wapakonoochee, Arizona, or wherever it's called. And I've seen some real Indians. I had a couple buddies who were actual Indians. Grew up on reservations. I served in the Army with a couple of them. One of them was named Foley. Can't remember his first name. His last name was Foley. But he was a buddy of mine. I tied his boot strings to the bed one time and caused him to be late for formation. Took him a while to get over that, but once he did, we were good buddies. But anyway, yeah, show me any pic, show me a video, anything of an engine with blonde hair, blue eyes, and pale skin. I'd love to see it. Okay, let's see. What do we got? Oh, yeah. Trump gave a great speech in Missouri today. If you did not see Trump's speech, it was a good speech. He's pushing his tax reform bill. And, of course, he referred to Kim Jong-un again, the demonic Teletubby, as a sick puppy. And, he's there pitching his tax reform plan. And it was a great speech. And if you get a chance to listen to it, I did while I was eating lunch. So give it a listen if you want. So I'm sure it's on YouTube. Let's see. The Senate, of course, passed the motion to proceed on the tax reform bill. Of course, the bill has passed the House. It's now in the Senate. And so now it will move on to be debated, and people can add things or subtract things or whatever. So it'll go through this process, and then it will go through a final vote. Then I guess it goes back to the House for a conference, and then they try to put the bill together, and hopefully they'll get the reform and tax cut bill done by the end of the year. Now, I was watching Twitch McConnell in the press conference the day before, and you can see that he's a tortured man because Twitch doesn't want to see Trump have any success. But Twitch has been told that if he fails on tax reform, he's done as Senate Majority Leader. Because as soon as they come back from recess after Christmas break, if he hasn't got the Senate to pass that tax reform bill, if he doesn't finally have some success and get something done, his ass is going to be voted out. They're going to can him if he doesn't pull this one off. He's failed everywhere else. The failing days are over for Twitch. If he wants to hold on to his Senate Majority Leader position, he is going to have to get it done. And you can see the look on his face. He's very unhappy. He's very tortured. He doesn't even like being in the same room with Trump, let alone having to give Trump praise and credit and deliver on a piece of legislation that will make Trump look good. So Twitch is mighty tortured right now, but he realizes that the game is up and he's going to have to produce or he's going to be gone. Fun to see Twitch sitting there in that much misery. I'm sure it's making Trump very happy as well. Then we have, we had like 8 Republicans, we were told, who could possibly kill the bill. They can afford to lose 2 Republicans of the 8 and still get the bill through. They would have to have Mike Pence vote and cast a tie-breaking vote. But they could lose 6 of the 8. But right now, they're on track to get most of them. Rand Paul said he's for it. Even Senator Magoo said he would probably vote for it. Barbara Murkowski, who heard from her constituents after voting against the reform Obama repeal bills twice, she heard from her constituents, and now she's saying she will vote for the tax bill even if it's got the Obamacare repeal or the repeal of the individual mandate, which essentially is repealing Obamacare, that she's going to vote for it either way. So she got the message. But we also have Bob Corker, of course. Bob Corker, of course, we know he hates President Trump. He's not going to be running for re-election because he would lose. But he's now throwing out this deal now where he wants this thing added to it called a trigger, which would automatically trigger tax increases. He's saying that, well, if we don't get the revenue projections that we've put in the bill, then it should automatically trigger a tax increase. Funny. I remember when Bob Corker, when Bush was president, and Bush did his tax bill along with the omnibus budget process, that Bob Corker didn't have a word to say about the deficit. He wasn't a deficit hawk then. He's talking a lot about being a deficit hawk now. He just can't stand the idea of the deficits. Didn't seem to bother him during those 8 years, did it? Because the national debt doubled under George Dumbia Bush. Doubled. And then it doubled again under Barack Obama. And I don't recall hearing Bob Corker putting up any bit of a fight there. I don't recall hearing him talk about having any type of a tax increase built in there. Of course, he didn't have to because Obama did that anyway. But it's just funny that Bob Corker's still playing the politics. You people in Tennessee need to get on the phone and get his staffers on the phone and give him a swift kick up the ass. And make sure that he votes the right way and stops with this stupid trigger nonsense for tax increases. How about this, Bob? How about this, Bob? You want to trigger tax increases? because you don't like the deficit? How about this, Bob? How about a trigger for some tax? How about some better than tax revenue increases? How about some spending cuts, Bob? How about a trigger for some spending cuts? How about if the projections don't come in as we've been told and it doesn't generate the revenue we're supposed to get, how about it automatically triggers some budget cuts? And I can think of a very good place to start cutting some budgets right now. How about the one budget that's given to the House members to pay off people who've made sexual allegations against them? We just forked over $17.2 million, Bob. $17.2 million to people accusing you pervs of sexual allegations. How about we cut that, Bob? How about we cut that? I can cut a whole lot of things, Bob. I would like to put a trigger in there for some budget cuts. Cuts to a lot of those programs that you folks there enjoy while you screw us. Why has it got to be tax cuts? How about a trigger for some spending cuts, Bob? I'm starting to get upset. I'm trying not to get upset. Let me calm down. Alrighty. Nancy Pelosi is caught in quite a quagmire. She has got she's got Democrats on both sides. One telling her she's got to make Conyers go away now. Others are saying, no, we'll let him go away on his own time. He'll probably leave after the first of the year anyway, which is true. He won't last past January. Once the Christmas break's over, Conyers will basically resign. But a lot of people want him to go now, including Tim Ryan. Tim Ryan is an Ohio Democrat who tried to depose Nancy Pelosi this past fall, but he couldn't get the votes. So he's back at it again. He wants to force her out, and he wants to take her position or have someone else take her position. And it's all based on this fight that's going on behind closed doors in the Democratic Party. It's about a 50-50. Half of them think Conyers should go. Half of them think he should be able to stay if he wants. And it's causing a big rift, a big split in the Democratic Party. And the problem is that the liberals have found themselves in a bit of a liberal dilemma. Because for years and years, they've had two things going for them. The race card and the woman card. But now, those two things are at odds. You have the race card versus the women card. So now, the liberal Democrats are having to figure out which is most valuable to them. Which do they go with? Do they play the race card or the liberal card? Because now, you have a black member of Congress who's being accused of sexual allegations by white women. So what do you do now? Do you go with the white women or do you go with the black congressman? White women, black congressman. Black congressman, white women. Race card, woman's card. Woman's card, race card. What do you do? There's just so much to do. There's just so much to figure out, so much to solve. And Madam Botox ain't got a brain in her head. She's relying on other people to tell her what to do. But what do you do when your party's split? You can't satisfy everyone, and she can satisfy no one. Trust me, she's a dumbass. Dumbass of the week 1 week ago. So, anyhow, that's the problem that happens to you when you're a liberal Democrat and your entire philosophy is based on identity politics. It's a loser. I've been saying it for years. Jake Crapper, his producer, has been fired over sexual harassment allegations. Sexual harassment is not a good thing, Jake, and it looks like your producer, you're going to be needing a new producer, Jake, because yours has been fired. Congratulations. Also, today, Kathleen Willey and Juanita Broderick showed up at Al Frankengroper's office and demanded that he go. Now, I'm sure some of you can provide a link, or I'll find a link to the video, because I'm sure there's video of that. I'm sure they had videographers on hand to video that. I assume that they got thrown out of the office by security, but I'm sure they made quite an embarrassing situation there in Al Frankengroper's office. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm sure glad I'm not Al Frankengroper, because, you know, he is a married man, and I can only imagine what life is like at home for Al Frankengroper. My guess is he's not getting very much action at home. What do you think? Who would want to have any action with Al Frankengroper anyway? He's gross. Okay, NPR, National Public Radio, has fired their #1 radio guy, Garrison Keller, for inappropriate behavior. Now, I don't know what he did. I don't even know what inappropriate behavior is exactly, and in this particular case, I don't even want to know. I certainly don't want to see any pics or video. I'll just accept the fact that he engaged in something that we're calling inappropriate behavior. So Garrison Keller, fired from NPR. Congratulations. That's another swamp monster, Mora, that's been taken out of the swamp. Thank you very much. And another liberal goes down. BuzzFeed. is going to lay off 100 employees after missing revenue targets. No shit, Sherlock. They're being sued by Mr. Gubarev, and he's going to win. He's going to take everything they got. BuzzFeed will not exist after that lawsuit is over because he's going to bankrupt them. So no wonder they're firing 100 employees. They know what's coming. It's called bankruptcy. And the end of their operations. Another swamp media organization will be taken out. Thank you very much. We also have, let's see, National Public Radio top news editor. He is out over sexual allegations. I don't know how many there came out today, maybe 6 or 7. Again, another liberal, another far left-wing outlet, NPR, is now had to get rid of their top news editor. So that's said and done. Of course, we have the, let's see, what have we got here? The somewhat domesticated silverback, April Ryan, has learned that she has not been invited to the White House Christmas party. Of course, why would you want a silverback sitting around your Christmas dinner table? I wouldn't. I don't even think silverbacks even eat ham or turkey or squash or anything else. I'm pretty sure they're vegetarians. So maybe April Ryan, the somewhat domesticated silverback, can get her, you know, some Chiquita bananas and some nuts and sit around and scratch her head on Thanksgiving Day or Christmas Day or whatever the hell day it is, because she's a meat eater or a vegetarian, should be a vegetarian if she is truly a silverback, and I think there's strong evidence. We also have John Podesta, who it appears referred to the Inspector General Charles McCullough in one of his leaked emails, the Podesta emails. Of course, we talked yesterday, Charles McCullough is the guy, the Inspector General, who first discovered the 2,100 classified emails on Rotten Reverend Clinton's server. And it looks like maybe Podesta had mentioned him in some conversation. I'm still trying to find that. I have not been able to find it yet, but I'm hoping I will. And as soon as I do, I'll tell you what he said. But that's what's being reported. So anyway, this is what we have for today. And right now I am working on something that tomorrow is going to blow your mind. It has to do with the article, actually the 2 articles written in the last 3 days by John Solomon over at The Hill. If you have not been to thehill.com and read those 2 articles by John Solomon, I recommend that you do. Or you can just tune in to tomorrow's TowerGate, where I will go through some of the things that he has learned, which are going to come out very, very soon. And I'm telling you, my friends, when I tell you that there's incredibly big things are going to come out. Not just the Clintons are going to be indicted. Many, many others are going to be indicted. Probably even some Republicans are going to be indicted. Probably some members who are not even in the Congress anymore are going to be indicted. There is a lot going on with this story. It's much bigger than just Uranium One, and tomorrow we're going to talk all about it. Okay? Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys have a good night. Be safe, be good, and if you can't be good, be careful. Good night.